authorities looking for 8-year-old Robert Manwill focused their efforts on this Boise home and blue Suburban.
I was pretty devastated that my truck is being considered part of this case with Robert.
The homeowner, Evan Wallace, says he has 3 boys of his own and is an innocent bystander in the investigation. He says he welcomed authorities to his backyard to search for anything that may lead them to the little boy.
I mean, whatever lead helps. I mean, I have complete cooperation with them because, yes, it's a little boy that needs to be found.
Wallace says police searched his home after bloodhounds picked up a scent on his Suburban. He says his truck was stolen on July 22nd, just 2 days before Robert disappeared. Then it turned back up on Monday, and Wallace notified the Ada County Sheriff's Office.
And that's what led them to come back here and get a warrant to dig up our backyard. And I told them, go ahead, as long as you just leave things the way they were when you're done.
Wallace says he hopes the investigation helps lead police to 8-year-old Robert Manwill and is glad he was able to help.
I'm Jean Casares of the Legal Network in session in for Nancy Grace tonight. We are awaiting confirmation at any moment of this little body that was found floating in a canal in Boise, Idaho. Let's go straight out to Greg Hahn, editor of the Idaho Statesman. Thank you so much for joining us. Who exactly found this little boy's body in the canal?
You know, we know it was 2 different people, just folks who were out there. I don't know if they were the ditch riders. Canal folks have to pay a lot of attention, especially this time of year, to make sure that everything's going all right, or if they were just regular people. The canals go past people's houses, past a lot of roads. We've been trying to get our hands on 911 calls and other documents, but they're kind of holding them all back as part of the investigation. But we do know the first sheriff's deputy there, and we don't know whether he thought if the boy was still alive or if he could kind of tell right away what was going on. He just jumped right in, swam over there, and pulled him out, which is a fairly gutsy thing to do because, like I said, it's a pretty big thing. In fact, a reporter just handed me a note. It was a road crew and a homeowner who called in and reported that. So it was a couple people. Like I said, everybody's been paying a lot of attention.
To Dr. Leslie Austin, psychotherapist, there were 23.
Kudos to them for putting their butts on the line and going out and looking. It's very important to be supportive of the family and find out what happened.
You better believe it. To Sheba in Illinois. Good evening, Sheba. Hi. What's your question?
Hi. I was just wondering, during the autopsy, did they find any bruises or any strange marks, anything like that?
Well, that's a good question, and they are keeping that under seal at this point. We don't know what they found, what they didn't find, but let's go to the attorney, Susan Moss, family law attorney, child advocate out of New York, Ray Giudice, defense attorney out of Atlanta, and Tamara Holder, defense attorney out of Atlanta. First to Susan Moss out of New York. Investigation. This is a new investigation. Timing could be everything here. Your thoughts?
Absolutely, but without a timeline, they're working this case blind. What I don't understand about this investigation is why it hasn't been released to the public, the timeline of when exactly this little boy was last seen by his mother. This case needs clues, and clues come from people who have seen something, who maybe were in the neighborhood, maybe they've seen a suspicious vehicle going by. If we don't get let out to the public the exact timeline, or as closely as we can, we are losing these valuable clues, and we are losing time.
To Clark Goldman, Nancy Grace producer, what do we know as far as the timeline? Who were the last people to see this little boy and where?
Gene, our understanding of the exact timeline situation is Robert was last seen around 10 p.m. that Friday night. It's not clear if he went to go to a birthday party, as had first been reported, or just wandered off to play. There's a jungle gym type area in that apartment complex. However, we do believe that he was with his mom and her boyfriend. Mom does not have custody, but she does have some visitation rights.
And that's going to be a big key there, because did this little boy wander off, fall into a canal? If it is identified to be Robert Manwill, could there be foul play? Melody in Ohio. Good evening, Melody. Your question.
Good evening. My question being about the mother, the behavior of the mother. Is she seeking psychiatric help, and is she on any psychotropic medications at this time?
All right, to Greg Hahn, editor of the Idaho Statesman. I do know that during the press conference today, they kept saying that the family wants their privacy at this time. Anything else you can tell us about the family or the mother?
You know, we've tried to, you know, like you guys have reported on a few nights. I mean, she does have a criminal history. She was charged. She pleaded guilty to a misdemeanor, a felony injury to a child of a younger boy. But we haven't been told anything about either by the family.
Finding Robert will not be the end, but just the beginning of an entirely new investigation. Our priority remains finding answers for Robert's family and this community.